In this video, I'll be giving a quick overview of the nervous system and explaining how it works to send messages throughout the body. I'll also be talking about neurons, which are specialized cells that make all of this communication possible. We'll go over what neurons are, how they're structured, and how they pass signals to each other using electrical and chemical messages. Alright, let's get started. The nervous system is the body's control center. It's responsible for everything from movement and thoughts to automatic functions like breathing and heartbeats. It consists of two main parts, the central nervous system, which includes the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which consists of nerves that connect the central nervous system to the rest of the body. When you touch something hot, for example, nerves in your skin send a signal to the brain, which quickly processes the information and tells your muscles to pull your hand away. The nervous system is made up of billions of specialized cells called neurons, which are the primary functional units of the nervous system. This is the general picture of a neuron, and you can see it's made up of four main parts. The first part is the dendrites, which contribute to the transmission of information across the nervous system. Dendrites are the branching extensions of a neuron that contain specialized receptors designed to detect and receive signals from other neurons. These signals are transmitted in the form of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which are released from the ends of the axon from neighboring neurons. When neurotransmitters bind to their corresponding receptors on the dendrites, they initiate a series of electrical and chemical responses within the receiving neuron's soma, or the cell body, which is the second main part of the neuron. The cell body contains the nucleus, which contains the genetic material of the cell, also known as the DNA. The nucleus is an organelle, which is a tiny structure inside the cell that has a specific job. The cell body of a neuron contains other organelles such as the mitochondria, which is an organelle that is responsible for producing energy in the cell. There are also other organelles called lysosomes, which are responsible for breaking down waste materials and cellular debris. The third main part of the neuron is the axon, which sends signals to other cells. The electrical signal in the axon is called an action potential, which will travel down toward the end of the axon. Axons are often covered in a protective layer called myelin, which helps speed up the signal and prevents it from degrading. The final main part of a neuron is the axon terminals. Axon terminals are the small branch-like endings of a neuron. Think of them like delivery points. When the electrical signal traveling down the axon reaches the axon terminal, it will release neurotransmitters, which cross over the space between neurons called the synaptic cleft to pass on the message to the next neuron. The axon terminal that releases the neurotransmitters is called the presynaptic terminal, while the dendrites on the next neuron that receive these neurotransmitters are called the postsynaptic terminals. This process is how neurons talk to each other and control everything from thoughts and emotions to movements and sensations. Neurons are essential because they work together to transmit electrical and chemical signals, allowing the body to react, think, and function properly. Now, ALS is a motor neuron disease, and it's characterized by the loss of both upper and lower motor neurons that control voluntary muscle contraction. So what are motor neurons? Well, motor neurons are a special kind of neuron that send commands from the brain to the muscles in order to carry out a specific function like walking and talking. And motor neurons can be divided into either upper or lower motor neurons. Upper motor neurons will originate in your cerebral cortex, specifically the motor cortex, and will connect to your lower motor neurons, which are located in your spinal cord or your brainstem. The lower motor neurons will then reach out and innervate or activate different muscles in your body. Another term we use for the loss of upper and lower motor neurons is degeneration, and you'll see this word come up very frequently throughout the website. In fact, ALS is referred to as a neurodegenerative disease. So what does this mean? Well, the degeneration of neurons means that nerve cells are getting damaged and deteriorating and dying over time. This causes neurons to stop sending signals to the muscles, which means the muscles stop getting instructions, and without signals, the muscles weaken, shrink, and eventually stop working, resulting in symptoms we see in patients with ALS, like difficulty walking, using their hands, speaking, or even swallowing.